You know it, your kids f***ed up. My little nephew came in the house the other day, me and my brother, we were playing pool. He came in, he said, "Hey Dad, what's the difference between a hypothetical question and a realistic question?" Well, you know, my brother, he kind of stupid too, you know.
Do you like the Bernie Mac show? Many people can still recall how they timed their schedules to be available when the show first aired, but some don't know how it ended. Today, we will examine the show's impact and the infamous scene that took it off the air, how the Bernie Mac show came on air.
Ain't that a bitch? Every town got this shit, every town got their music. New York got the bamba, salsa. Kansas City got two-step.
The Bernie Mac show was a creation of Bernie Mac's unique comedic persona, which he famously developed during his stand-up routines. His "who you wit" catchphrase and no-nonsense, larger-than-life personality struck a chord with audiences who appreciated his raw humor and candid approach to life. Fox executives saw an opportunity to bring his humor and perspective to television, which was how the sitcom came to be. The show, inspired by a real-life scenario Bernie had shared during his comedy specials, premiered on the 14th of 2001. It depicted a fictionalized version of Bernie Mac stepping up to raise his sister's 3 children after she entered rehab. The premise was heartfelt and comedic, offering a fresh take on family life. In interviews, Bernie often said the show was about love and responsibility, wrapped in his sharp comedic delivery. No one could tell if it was because there were only a few shows at the time, or because it was simply awesome. What became clear in the first few weeks of airing was that audiences and critics alike were drawn to its originality. The Bernie Mac show was an immediate success, winning awards such as the Peabody Award in 2002 and an Emmy for Outstanding Writing. The show earned Bernie Mac several accolades, including a Television Critics Association Award for individual achievement in comedy. The Hollywood Reporter praised it as a breath of fresh air on network television, while Entertainment Weekly called Bernie Mac a comedic force of nature. Now, what made it stand out? Well, what set the Bernie Mac show apart from other sitcoms was its innovative storytelling techniques and willingness to tackle serious issues. One of the show's most memorable features was Bernie Mac's direct-to-camera commentary. Bernie would break the fourth wall in these moments and speak directly to viewers as if they were close friends. This format, which had not been used by others before, allowed him to share his inner thoughts, jokes, and frustrations about raising his nieces and nephew in an intimate and authentic way. More than the humor, the show addressed real-life issues with a mix of honesty and wit. In this regard, episodes were tailored to explore topics such as foster care, parenting challenges, cultural differences, and discipline. One memorable storyline involved Bernie teaching Jordan, his timid and sensitive nephew, the importance of standing up for himself. Another episode also talked about the challenges of raising a teenager, as Bernie clashed with his rebellious niece Vanessa over boundaries and respect. Critics noted that while the show was funny, it had a lot of heart. It wasn't one of those shows that just made the audience laugh with no serious lesson to learn. The show didn't stop showing Bernie's struggles to adapt to his new role as a parental figure while maintaining his tough love approach. The New York Times described the series as a refreshing mix of humor and humanity, with the way it showed a family dynamic as messy as it is relatable. The Bernie Mac show became a groundbreaking series that addressed complex family situations through comedy. It was relatable to the audiences because it was funny, genuine, and unafraid to show the challenges of raising children in a world full of chaos, as Bernie often said in the show's opening. "America, these kids are gonna kill me." However, in every laugh, a nugget of truth made the show unforgettable. But then, the popular show came to an abrupt end. Why did this happen? Keep watching to find out. The rumor mill. Over the years, fans and media have speculated about an infamous scene that supposedly led to the cancellation of the Bernie Mac show. However, no definitive evidence exists to confirm such a moment. Instead, the rumors seem to come from a handful of controversial or misunderstood episodes that tackled sensitive topics. One example often brought up is the episode Sweet Home Chicago, where Bernie, frustrated by Jordan's reluctance to embrace toughness, attempts to instill in him what Bernie describes as manly discipline. For this, critics debated whether the portrayal of Bernie's old-school parenting methods crossed a line or was simply a comedic take on generational differences. Another commonly cited episode is If I Were Enriched, in which Bernie confronts Vanessa about her attitude and behavior after she uses a racial slur in a school essay. While the episode attempted to explore the complexity of using racially charged language within the context of education and family, some viewers believed the topic was too heavy for a sitcom format. Despite the intention to trigger thought and conversation, these episodes became material for controversy. Media outlets such as TV Guide and Entertainment Weekly covered debates surrounding the show's bold storytelling choices with headlines like, "Can humor go too far?" and "When comedy pushes boundaries." These discussions added to the myth of a scene that might have led to the show's end. Without a concrete explanation for the series' conclusion, online fan forums and social media platforms added to the rumor mill. Message boards like Reddit and fan-driven sites hosted threads with titles like, "What happened to the Bernie Mac show?" and "Was there a scene that crossed the line?" Some fans argued that the show's handling of discipline, particularly Bernie's exaggerated methods, such as military-style drills or humorous threats, contributed to its downfall. Others pointed to the show's frequent exploration of cultural and racial issues. This suggests that network executives may have found it too edgy for mainstream audiences. One particularly pervasive theory centered on an alleged lost episode that never aired due to its content. According to rumors, this episode featured Bernie confronting social services after accusations of being too harsh on the kids were thrown his way. While this storyline would have aligned with the show's themes of parenting and discipline, no such episode has ever been confirmed to exist. Much speculation about an infamous scene stems from misunderstandings of the show's creative storytelling choices. The Bernie Mac show was unapologetically bold in its approach to parenting and family life. Bernie Mac's character was tough but loving, and he often expressed his frustrations through humor. For example, his over-the-top threats to send the kids to live with Big Mama were clearly intended as jokes, but some viewers seem to have taken them literally or out of context. The show also used humor to bridge the cultural differences and address societal issues. Episodes that featured topics like racial identity, class struggles, and education were often praised for their honesty, but somehow they still found a way to trigger debates about appropriateness. Bernie Mac defended these choices in interviews by explaining that the show was about authenticity. In his words, he told the Los Angeles Times, "We wanted to make something real. Parenting isn't easy, and sometimes it's messy, but it's always done out of love." Despite the speculation, there is no credible evidence of a singular infamous scene that led to the show's cancellation. Instead, the rumors seem to be a byproduct of the show's willingness to address complex issues head-on. The issues that no other show was willing to touch were caused by the backlash that could come from it. While this approach may have occasionally courted controversy, it also made the Bernie Mac show stand out as one of the most original and memorable sitcoms of its time. So, if there was no major infamous scene, what led to the show's end? Let's find out. The real story behind the show's end.
And I hugged her and everything, and she kissed me on the cheek. I went in the store and got all the goods, and I came out. My daughter was sitting on the armrest acting like she was a wife. You know, she wouldn't speak to me.
Really?
Yeah, she had attitude, and I said, "Baby, what's your problem?"
Regarding the Bernie Mac show, there have been multiple takes on the real reason the show was taken off air. Some people believe that a particular scene was responsible for the show's termination, while another camp was rigid that a bigger reason was at play. Anyway, now that we are here, let's look at it. When the Bernie Mac show premiered in 2001, it was met with critical acclaim and high ratings. The show's unique concept, Bernie's seriousness, and the heartfelt humor about family life were what caught the attention of the audiences. However, as the seasons progressed, viewership began to decline. The initial seasons maintained strong ratings, with millions tuning in weekly. According to Variety, the show ranked among the top sitcoms during its first 2 seasons, consistently pulling in over 10 million viewers per episode. However, those numbers had significantly dropped by the 4th and 5th seasons, averaging closer to 5 million viewers. One factor contributing to this decline was competition from other popular shows. By the mid-2000s, programs like American Idol, Grey's Anatomy, and CSI dominated prime-time slots. These developments divided audiences' attention, especially as those shows came with unique selling points. For instance, Grey's Anatomy was about a group of doctors and their personal lives. Unlike the Bernie Mac show, it focused on real adult issues. Not only that, the show also faced increased competition from reality TV, which was surging in popularity. Shows like Survivor and The Apprentice became cultural phenomena. Again, the little attention left had to be fought over. At the time, reality TV started giving scripted comedies a run for their money. While the Bernie Mac show continued to receive praise for its storytelling and humor, Lower ratings made it a less appealing investment for the Fox network. Another factor that contributed to the end of the show was Bernie Mac's health. In 2004, Bernie publicly revealed that he had sarcoidosis, a chronic inflammatory disease that primarily affected his lungs. Though Bernie managed to keep working during the show's production, the illness took a toll on his energy and ability to film long hours. In interviews, Bernie Mac discussed the physical demands of filming a TV show while dealing with sarcoidosis. He admitted to Entertainment Weekly, "It's like I am running on empty some days, but I love what I do. I love making people laugh." By the 5th season, Bernie's health challenges had become more pronounced. Episodes were sometimes filmed with adjustments to accommodate his condition, such as fewer scenes or shorter shoot days. While the production team worked to support him, managing a weekly sitcom proved difficult. The declining ratings and Bernie's health struggles made it increasingly hard to justify continuing the show. Then the network decided to end The Bernie Mac Show. According to Fox management, the decision was driven by shifting priorities within the network. At the time, Fox invested heavily in new programming, including reality TV and younger skewing dramas. Shows like The OC and 24 were given more priority, leaving less room for traditional sitcoms. According to The Hollywood Reporter, changes in network leadership also contributed. Executives who had championed The Bernie Mac Show during its early years had moved on, and their replacements were less committed to the series. The network's focus on profitability and ratings meant that shows with declining viewership were at risk, regardless of their critical acclaim. For The Bernie Mac Show, the combination of reduced ratings and increased production challenges due to Bernie's health made it an easy target for cancellation. When the show's cancellation was eventually announced in 2006, fans and critics expressed disappointment. Many felt the series had more stories to tell, and Bernie Mac's performance remained as sharp as ever. In a heartfelt statement, Bernie expressed gratitude for the opportunity to create a show that so many people felt connected to. In an interview with Jet magazine, he said, "I'm proud of what we did. We showed people what family is all about, even though it had flaws and all." The final episode, Bernie's Angels, aired in April 2006. While it wasn't a traditional series finale, it captured the humor and heart that defined the show. Fans bid farewell to a sitcom that had brought laughter, cultural insight, and authenticity to their screens. Episodes that sparked controversy. We have discussed some reasons The Bernie Mac Show got canceled. However, there is still a need to look into those infamous scenes that people were so convinced contributed to its end. One of the more talked about episodes of The Bernie Mac Show was titled Sweet Home Chicago. What happened in this episode, and why was it flagged as inappropriate? In this episode, Bernie takes his family back to his hometown of Chicago, where he had hoped to show his nephew and nieces the culture and values he grew up with. What unfolds is a mix of humor and social commentary as Bernie's expectations clash with reality. The episode explored sensitive topics like gentrification, racial identity, and stereotypes about urban communities. Bernie's pride in his roots becomes complicated when he realizes that some aspects of his hometown have worsened while others remain stuck in systemic issues. Critics praised the episode for tackling important social themes, and publications like the Chicago Tribune lauded Bernie Mac's ability to blend comedy with a deeper message about the complexities of urban life. However, some viewers felt the portrayal of certain characters and neighborhoods leaned too heavily on stereotypes. This triggered debates on forums and blogs about whether the humor crossed the line. This push characterized Bernie Mac's comedic style and pull between celebrating one's culture and critiquing its struggles. While it earned applause from some for its honesty, it left others uncomfortable. The Bernie Mac Show was known for its rather bold storytelling, and Bernie Mac's approach to parenting was a central theme. Episodes that also focused on discipline, such as Now You Got It and Saving Bernie Mac, often provoked debates among audiences. In Now You Got It, Bernie uses his tough love approach to teach Jordan, Vanessa, and Brianna valuable life lessons. Whether it was taking away privileges or delivering no-nonsense lectures, Bernie's parenting style spurred mixed reactions. Some viewers appreciated the portrayal of a strong, authoritative father figure, especially in a media terrain that often lacked such representation. Others, however, felt his methods could be overly harsh, with certain critics questioning whether they sent the wrong message about parenting. Similarly, Saving Bernie Mac attacked balancing discipline with emotional connection challenges. In this episode, Bernie struggles to show his softer side when his niece Brianna feels neglected. While the story showed Bernie's vulnerability and ultimate growth, some audiences interpreted his initial approach as reinforcing outdated ideas about masculinity. Episodes focusing on tough love parenting became hot topics in fan discussions and media reviews. While media like Time magazine praised the series for breaking away from sitcom cliches and providing authentic portrayals of family situations, others noted that not all audiences were ready to accept Bernie's brand of honesty. A 2003 reviews by the New York Times talked about the show's willingness to say what other sitcoms wouldn't. Nonetheless, it acknowledged that this boldness could alienate some viewers. Bernie Mac defended the show's approach in interviews, stating, "I'm not here to sugarcoat. I'm here to tell it like it is. That's how I was raised, and it worked for me." In essence, he tells the audience that he finds his method tough. In doing so, the family system's rottenness, which resulted from leaving children even when they act out of line, would gradually reduce. Another defining characteristic of the show was its ability to tackle taboo or uncomfortable subjects with humor. Some people do not see the big deal in this, though. They felt the humor was the main selling point of the show anyway. After all, it's situational comedy anyway. Nonetheless, we should give it flowers, because whether addressing systemic racism, stereotypes, or family struggles, the Bernie Mac show used satire to spark conversations. However, this approach sometimes led to misunderstandings. Episodes intended to serve as comic relief were occasionally taken at face value, resulting in backlash. For instance, moments where Bernie overstated his frustrations with the kids and used his infamous line, "I'll bust your head till the white meat shows," were meant to be over-the-top jokes. Still, some audiences saw them as promoting harmful behavior. The show's creators and writers often stood by their decisions, intensifying the sense that the humor was based on realism. Bernie Mac's experiences informed much of the content, and his persona was critical to the storytelling, refuting the infamous scene myth. The rumor that an infamous scene was responsible for the cancellation of the Bernie Mac show has long been a part of TV folklore. However, despite the media's fixation on this idea, no credible evidence supports the claim that a single scene caused the show's end. Throughout its run, the Bernie Mac show garnered praise and controversy for its direct approach to family situations and social issues. Nonetheless, these conversations were often centered around themes, not any particular episode. Media outlets, including Entertainment Weekly and TV Guide, cited several factors contributing to the show's decline in viewership and eventual cancellation. Still, no official sources linked a specific scene to the show's demise. If a scene had truly been at the center of the show's cancellation, it would have been documented more thoroughly. Instead, reports consistently point to a combination of factors such as declining ratings, changing network priorities, and Bernie Mac's health challenges. More than that, the idea of a single infamous scene driving the show off the air seems more rooted in speculation than fact. TV Line reported that while the show was cutting edge in its approach to sensitive topics, no one scene had been deemed so damaging that it would have warranted cancellation. These sorts of myths are common in the entertainment industry, where the public makes it their life work to seek a singular narrative to explain more complex situations. In this case, the show's cancellation was a business decision influenced by decreased viewership and internal shifts within the Fox network. When asked about the rumored infamous scene, several cast members and crew members from the Bernie Mac show have spoken openly about the reasons behind the show's end. In an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, executive producer Larry Wilmore mentioned that the show's cancellation was largely due to Bernie Mac's health struggles. The comedian was diagnosed with a disease that affected his ability to keep up with the demands of filming. Consider this briefly. What could they have done in such a situation? They could have continued if someone else in the network shared the same passion with Bernie, or better still, had his experience raising children and parenting generally. Wilmore said, "It wasn't about a controversial episode or scene. It was more about the production side of things. Bernie's health was deteriorating, which posed a real challenge for the show. His passion for the role never waned, but practical issues with the shooting schedule and his well-being ultimately led to its end." Similarly, cast member Kalita Smith, who portrayed Wanda Mack, corroborated these sentiments when she shared that the team had always been focused on creating a heartfelt and relevant show. In a 2016 interview, she said, There was never a one scene that caused the show to end. It was a combination of health issues and timing. Bernie was a force of nature, but he had to take care of himself. In addition, network executives from Fox have commented on the show's ending in terms of ratings and programming strategy. One Fox executive in the New York Times said, "As with any show, there are a lot of moving pieces that affect its future." While the Bernie Mac show was no doubt a success, it was facing stiff competition, and we had to make tough decisions about what we were investing in. The decision wasn't based on any one thing, but a culmination of various factors, including the changing scene of network television at the time. When we examine it closely, the myth of a singular, infamous scene causing the end of the Bernie Mac show is a prime example of how speculation can take on a life of its own and shape perceptions of a show's fate. In reality, the show's cancellation was much more complicated than what the media and fans were peddling. The media's desire for a simple, sensational story was one of the most powerful forces in creating the infamous scene myth. The media often gravitates towards scandal or drama, especially when it involves a show that pushes boundaries as much as the Bernie Mac show did. The show's rigid treatment of family life and issues like race, discipline, and parenting often made it a lightning rod for criticism. Also, the power of speculation became even more evident when the Bernie Mac show was nearing its final season. As the show began to experience a decline in viewership, the media started looking for what could have caused it. The idea that one scene had sparked widespread outrage seemed like a convenient answer to fill the void. However, viewers and industry insiders who knew the true story often pointed out that these rumors were exaggerated or completely baseless. Entertainment Weekly noted, "It's far easier to pin the show's end on one incendiary moment than to grapple with the complexities of a long-running television show's natural decline. However, the truth is that shows often end due to a series of practical factors, not because of one scene." So, what impact does this show have on families and society? Let's find out. The impact of Bernie Mac show. Today, the Bernie Mac show still holds a special place in television history, especially for its portrayal of African-American family life. The show's success was both critical and cultural. It was one of the few sitcoms to explore the challenges faced by African-American families in a way that felt real and relatable. While it aired, it was praised for its humor and its more serious themes, like the struggles of parenting and the responsibility of raising children. The Bernie Mac show was lauded for its positive portrayal of African-American men and women, particularly within family life. As the New York Times noted in a 2001 article, the show presents an image of African-American fathers that aren't often seen on TV, a man who is nurturing, but not afraid to be tough. The show also set the stage for other sitcoms with African-American leads. After its success, shows like Everybody Hates Chris, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and Black-ish became prominent, and they continued to explore the details of African-American culture, family, and social issues. These three iconic television shows have significantly impacted the comedy world while exploring the complexities of Black life in America. Everybody Hates Chris offers a humorous yet poignant look at the challenges of growing up in a working-class family in Brooklyn. Through Chris, we see the struggles of adolescence, the dynamics of family life, and the realities of navigating a predominantly white school environment. The series is filled with relatable moments that resonate with many viewers, such as dealing with bullies and trying to fit in. It cleverly balances humor and heartfelt messages, making it entertaining and thought-provoking. The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air follows a street-smart teenager from West Philadelphia who is sent to live with his wealthy relatives in a posh neighborhood in Bel-Air. The contrast between Will's laid-back attitude and the privileged world of his relatives leads to numerous comedic situations. However, the series also tackles serious issues such as racism, classism, and the importance of family like the Bernie Mac show. Its blend of humor, heartfelt moments, memorable catchphrases, and iconic characters solidified its place in television history. Black-ish centers around the Johnson family, led by Andre Dre Johnson, who is deeply concerned about raising his children in a predominantly white, upper-middle-class neighborhood. The series deftly explores themes of cultural heritage, identity, and the challenges of maintaining a sense of Black culture while navigating a mainstream world. With sharp humor and clever storytelling, Black-ish engages with serious social issues while remaining entertaining, making it relevant to audiences of all backgrounds. Together, these shows represent a rich tapestry of Black experiences in America, each offering unique insights, laughter, and moments of reflection. They provide comedy and a platform for discussing deeper societal issues, contributing to the broader conversation about race, class, and family dynamics, all thanks to The Bernie Mac Show. Throughout its run, The Bernie Mac Show earned multiple awards and nominations. Bernie Mac received a Golden Globe Award for Best Actor in a Television Series, Musical or Comedy in 2002, and the show was nominated for several Primetime Emmy Awards. It was widely recognized for its refreshing take on family-oriented sitcoms and became a standard for the genre. Variety called it one of the most important family comedies of its time, noting how it tackled real issues with humor and heart. Although The Bernie Mac Show was a huge success during its run, its impact extended far beyond its run. Bernie Mac's unique style and personality made him one of the most beloved figures in comedy. His ability to blend humor with truth, drawing from his own experiences, made him relatable to fans, particularly those in African American communities. Even after his passing in 2008, Bernie Mac's impact continued to inspire new generations of comedians and fans alike. His candid, uncoded approach to comedy made him a trailblazer, and his influence can still be seen in the work of contemporary comedians. Icons like Kevin Hart, Chris Rock, and Cedric the Entertainer have often cited Bernie Mac as an inspiration, with many pointing to his ability to address difficult issues while making people laugh as one of his most enduring qualities. His role as a father figure on The Bernie Mac Show also left a lasting impact on television. He portrayed a tough, no-nonsense parent who deeply loved his nieces and nephews, yet was vulnerable enough to admit that being a parent wasn't always easy. His balance between comedy and the responsibility of fatherhood resonated deeply with viewers, earning him tremendous respect as a performer and a role model. Despite his untimely death, Bernie Mac's influence is still felt today. His comedy specials and appearances continue to be celebrated by fans, and his legacy is frequently honored by fellow comedians and entertainers. In 2011, a posthumous tribute was held to Bernie Mac at the BET Comedy Awards. In 2018, the Bernie Mac Foundation, which works to raise awareness of sarcoidosis, the disease that claimed his life, continues to support research and education efforts in his name. In case you didn't know, Bernie Mac, the genius behind the show, passed away in 2008 at 50. For many, the loss of Bernie Mac wasn't just the loss of a comedian. It was the loss of someone who had redefined comedy, family dynamics on television, and the role of African American fathers in mainstream media. The timing of his passing also left a lingering question about what might have happened to The Bernie Mac Show had it continued beyond its run. Years after the show ended, people often discuss how far it would have gone in the present day, especially with the availability of streaming platforms like Netflix, Prime, Hulu, and others. But like many things, this particular one would remain in our imaginations. What can you say about The Bernie Mac Show? Do you think those tough scenes are the reasons the show got canceled? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoy this video, like, share, and subscribe to this channel.